Am I the asshole for ruining my parents' marriage by finding my bio father and exposing my mom's lies? I, 19 male, always knew my dad wasn't my bio dad and it was never a huge deal. I knew I was loved either way. Mom always told us my bio father hadn't wanted to be a dad and walked away once he learned she was pregnant. When I was 12 I started struggling with health issues and we were repeatedly asked for family medical background. Mom swore she reached out to ask bio for any insight on his side but he refused to give it. At the time we were told it would be ideal to find out more if we could, but if not we would do our best to treat me. My dad and I talked about it a lot and he comforted me when I was upset that this guy who made me hated me so much that he wouldn't even help for a medical problem. It meant added complications and always having to explain to new doctors I was referred to that I only had half my family medical history and could not get more. And really it just sucked to think he cared so little if I could be seriously ill or not. A year ago my aunt, Mom's sister, told me that things might not be like they seemed and maybe it would be a good idea to search for answers myself. She said the worst that could happen is he refuses to answer or gets mad at me for making contact. I asked her what she meant about things not being what they seemed but she was tight-lipped on it, so I did a 23andMe. I ended up matched with a paternal aunt and from their mom's lies were exposed to me. My paternal aunt was shocked to learn about me and she told me she was 100% certain her brother had no idea either. She was a go-between for us at first to help set up contacting and a face-to-face meeting. When we met he had medical info waiting for me and he told me it was a thing I inherited from his side and he would be a donor if I ever needed one. He was also apologizing the whole time for not knowing me and he swore he was never told Mom was pregnant. They broke up because she cheated and he never heard from her again or her sister, and who pushed me to search, who he got along with during his relationship with Mom. The medical info helped and I told him I'd have way more questions once I processed. Then I went to talk to Mom. At first she said it was all lies. Then asked why I searched without saying anything, and when I told her why she admitted it was true. She said she met Dad after the guy she cheated on my bio father with left her and she came up with the lie so we could be a normal family. And she never told my bio about me even after I got sick because she wanted to keep things as they were. I was hurt but so was my dad. He was mad she denied my bio father and me the chance to know each other. But also that she lied to him the whole time they had known each other. He felt like she made him complicit in keeping me and my bio father apart. And he was super angry she was willing to make my health stuff more difficult because I didn't have the full background rather than do the right thing and expose her lies years ago for my sake. The medical info I got was actually helpful for my medical team, so it was worth it in that sense. But it has ruined my relationship with Mom and my parents' marriage is done. Dad wants a divorce and already moved out of their house. My siblings blame me for it because they know what went down between us all. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my fiancé having a child together is still a deal breaker for me and I would leave if that was no longer an option? I, 30 male, have been dating my fiancé, 29 female, for 4 years and we got engaged 4 months ago. My fiancé lost her first boyfriend before we met to mental illness. They have a son, 10 male, together. I knew all this getting into the relationship and I love her son and we have a good relationship. When we were first dating I told my fiancé I wanted children and it was one of my biggest deal breakers. She told me she understood and mentioned she would like 2 more children. Her family and I get along really well and that's been great. Her late boyfriend's family have been nice enough to me too. I don't interact with them often but when they come to the house to collect my fiancé's son we say hi and bye and we'd make small talk if there's a delay. Everything had been going really well and I proposed. Then a couple of weeks ago I overheard my fiancé and her mom talking. All I heard was my fiancé's mom told her we already have a child so it shouldn't change anything between me and her. Later that same day my fiancé asked me to sit down and she told me she had changed her mind about having more kids and she wanted to tell me because she wasn't sure if it was still a deal breaker for me or not, but she would still like to make this work because she loves me and her son loves me and we make a nice little family. She brought up what her mom said and she told me she wanted all the cards on the table. I told her having a child together was still a deal breaker for me and I would leave if that's completely off the table. I told her I didn't say that to pressure her or make her change her mind again. But I felt the same as I did before. She was upset and asked me to give her just a little time to think. Then her mom called and they got into a small fight over what her mom said and her mom wanting to talk to me. My fiancé was honest about her parents might try and talk to me about it and that she went to her mom originally because she was trying to figure out what to say. I told her it was fine and we'd see what happened. But her parents are pissed at me and they did confront me. They said I could have a wife and a son and why do I need a bio child? I told them it was none of their business but they didn't want to let it go. They told me their grandson should be enough for me and to think about how my walking out will devastate him when both dads choose to leave him. They said he needs me. I told my fiancée, she was furious with her parents and tore them a new one for confronting me. They defended it and said what I told her was not the mark of a good, solid guy. They said I should be committed to the family we have, not trying to make another one. I don't think it's fair, but could they have a point? I'm here to find out. For context on me and my fiancé's son, we have a good relationship but I'm not his dad. At least not now, and I don't know if I would ever be. He has memories of his dad and he's told me about him. I love him, I know he likes me a lot and thinks I'm cool and I'm good with that. But the argument from my fiancé's mom that he's mine is not quite true, and I feel like if we ever considered making it official he would not be on board, a feeling my fiancé shares despite what her parents say. None of this bothers me. I'm happy with the relationship we have. I just wanted to bring this up in case people wondered about it. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for waiting until I was financially stable before leaving my wife? I've wanted out of my marriage for a little over 6 years now. There was nothing dramatic like cheating or abuse, unless her never-ending condescending attitude counts. She's simply just an emotional vampire who's also super lazy. I rather have to spend all my free time picking up after her and cleaning the house or live with piles of dirty plates everywhere and flies. We don't have kids, thank God. So yeah, I realized I made a mistake a little over 6 years ago but quickly found out I was stuck. I didn't realize how much housing costs went up where I live. 30 to 40-year-old houses are like $1 million and even renting a bachelor apartment in a crappy building is like $2,000 a month. Moving isn't an option because of work. So I was stuck. Fast forwarding to now, I basically never let on how I was feeling and just checked out mentally. I worked a lot and recently got a big promotion to a high-level management position. I'm now in a spot where not only can I move out, I can live comfortably and even buy a house for myself. I finally told my wife and she's furious. Which I can understand. When I told her I'd been unhappy for a while, she kept asking how long and wouldn't let it go. I told her I've been done for 6 years now and she just lost it. She got really mad because I dragged it out and wasted the best years of her life. For me, it was about security. My family isn't close, so I don't have a safety net. I don't have anyone I can stay with, so I needed to make sure I could stand on my own. Am I the asshole for making sure I was financially stable before divorcing? Am I the asshole for ruining my girlfriend's worldview and making her rethink her entire adult life? My girlfriend, 33 female, Jan, fake name, and myself, 39 male, have been together right around 6 months. Jan loves bumblebees. She has a bumblebee tattooed on her forearm pretty prominently, which she receives many compliments on. She loves pinning insects and making shadow boxes, mostly based around bumblebees. She has a lot of decorative paintings of bumblebees around her apartment. She was even super excited to get one of the Minecraft bee toys that came in the Happy Meals a few months back. She's told me that her love of bumblebees comes from when she was a child. She would sit on her parents' front porch and loved watching the bumblebees flying all around her, and would just sit out there watching them for a long time. Until one day she saw that they had been killed or run off by wasps and it made her really sad. Well, this past weekend we were at Jan's parents' house and were sitting on the front porch, and she mentioned the story again, except this time she pointed to a wooden sign hanging from the eaves with holes bored into the back of it, and added that was where the bees lived before the wasps moved in. It was at this moment I informed her that those weren't bumblebees, but carpenter bees. She got very confused and said, "No, carpenter bees are all black," at which point I informed her that no, some have yellow on them, as all the ones that burrow into the columns of my back porch look just like bumblebees from a little distance, and that honestly the only way I even would know the difference is because only carpenter bees burrow into wood. She started sort of laughing/crying at this point because her entire worldview had been shattered. She had built her entire love of bumblebees and a large part of her personality around this misconception. Got a tattoo of a bumblebee, pinning bumblebees, etc. She also says she feels like an idiot because she's told that story to people for years and said she almost always includes the part about the sign and no one has ever corrected her in all these years. She's even started to look closer at some of the shadow boxes she's made or purchased and realized the bees inside are, in fact, carpenter bees. TikTok is even recommending videos about spotting the difference between carpenter bees and bumblebees. Now I feel terrible for absent-mindedly correcting her on the type of bee, and basically crushing her whole world. I've told her that her love and memories haven't changed, just the name, and that most people aren't going to know any different anyway unless you tell them that the bee tattoo isn't the same kind of bee that you grew up loving. I mean, I didn't even notice the inconsistency until I was sitting there and was looking at the sign, in person, with the burrow holes. But this doesn't give her much comfort. So, am I the asshole for basically crushing my girlfriend's childhood memories and making her rethink her entire life and personality to a degree? Edit, as I just wanted to clarify as it's been brought up a few times. Maybe I exaggerated a little much saying it ruined her worldview. But bees are not her entire personality. She has many other interests and hobbies and loves besides bees. But bees are a core memory, so a big part of her personality. And that's what the story was about, so I didn't add information about irrelevant hobbies and interests. And while it did ruin her worldview concerning bees and that part of her personality, it didn't ruin her entire life or send her into some kind of spiral. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit stories.